All right, hey everyone, this is Ash. Welcome back to the King's Speech. So we're going to continue on with the Akane-Banashi catch-up. Like I mentioned in the last couple of videos, we're going to try to catch up with the series by next week. So hopefully I can start just doing weekly reaction reviews for this, along with Spy Family and Kaiju number 8. I want to mention at the start here that if you like my content, please do like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Especially doing the like, commenting, and subscribing does help me a lot with promoting my videos to the algorithm. So if you feel inclined to do that, that would be greatly appreciated. So without further ado, let's get into Akane-Banashi Story 20, BM, with story by Yuki Suwanaga, art by Takamasa Moe, and we finally get the other Rakugo supervision by Keiki Hayashiya. I don't know why that's not credited on every chapter, but it doesn't make a big difference, I guess. And I guess this chapter is, of course, determined to make me remember Bullcut's name, as it's got it set up on the cover page, so I won't forget it, hopefully. So you have Karashi backstory as we have him going, what's my hobby? Stand-up comedy, I guess? So that's a boring answer. It's like, oh my god, is this motherfucker practicing? He's like, what's my hobby? Rakugo, I guess. Seems way more highbrow, right? I thought I can create a clever image for myself. This seems cool. That's why I joined the Rakugo Club. But, of course, sorry, I had to give a translation by Stephen Paul, lettering by Sneer Aaron. I have to get those credits out as well. It's like, but I don't get Rakugo. Excuse me. And I think he's watching a performance in the orientation session as someone on stage is going, and it was a shingle nail measuring 8 sun. Sun? That's an old unit of measurement, right? Just use centimeters or inches. And what's a shingle nail? Do you have a snort? Some guy nearby is apparently fallen asleep during this performance. It's like, I get it, buddy. Can't keep your interest if you don't know what it means. It's like, so I chose a different path. And you have him starting his performance going, now everywhere you go in life, you come across know-it-alls. There's a lab at a big university. A graduate student is about to unveil his research before the professor. And that concludes my presentation about the environmental problems of managing livestock. To sum it up, my research is streamlining and synergizing the next paradigm shift and could be disrupting the next big game changer. And say he's like, noticed this yesterday too. It's like he's telling a modern story even though it's supposed to be Rakugo. Is that allowed? And, God, I can't remember Editor Bro's name. I know it starts with a K as well, but I cannot for the life of me remember it. It's like, what's with that look? It's like there absolutely are pro-Rakugoka who do their own stories set in the modern day. The classics aren't all there is to Rakugo. It's like, you write about Rakugo for a living. You should know this already. It's like, sorry? It's like, so this is his own original story, huh? It's like, it is, but then again, it isn't. Now, do you mind? I have a question about your presentation. I believe there's room to rethink the BM issue. He's like, BM? Well, it's like, you might be right about that. It's like, he said this, not actually understanding what BM means in the situation. It's like, BM, the proud graduate student is unable to admit his own ignorance. It's like, you may need to reconsider the BM issue. It's like, you may be right about that. In the moment, he pretends to understand, but once he's alone, he's desperate to understand how this relates to his research. The grad student, desperate to know what BM stands for. It's like, there are too many possible meanings of BM. Which one did the professor mean? I feel like I vaguely know this story somehow. It's like, hey you, what's up with your BMs? I taught you about that earlier. God damn, is it from Vagabond those also did a riff on this story? There's some other manga or series I know I recognize this from. It's like, I taught you about that earlier. It's like, huh? I don't remember anything about that. Or was it earlier in Akane? Sorry, I'm kind of digressing there. Then go and ask what it means, ASAP. It's like, commands one of his lab students to figure out what BM means. And Akane's teacher's like, this does sound familiar. Koguma's like, you caught on well. It's a modern, I knew it. It's a modern arrangement of the story Tenshiki. It's adapted Rakugo. Yeah, Akane did this at the start, didn't she? Yes. I knew it was familiar for this, but I also have seen it in other series before. And the teacher's like, adapted, huh? It's like, while the setting and the keyword are different, the structure is the same. Yes, the monk who's asked what Tenshiki is, and he asked his pupil to figure it out. It's like, it takes the basic concept of a classic Rakugo piece and places it into a modern and more familiar setting. It's like, of course I know what a BM is. I'm wearing one right now. My girlfriend gave me this jacket. You mean Beams, the brand? I swear, does every girlfriend in the world give BMs as gifts? It's like, to make it more relatable to the audience and get more laughs. It's like, the term BM, of course, means bowel movement. It's like, in other words... Kogo, like, in other words, it's Rakugo that's specially designed to be a hit at the Karaku Cup finals. It's like, BM means poop? What? And you have him going, what do you think of these laughs? Do you hear that? It's like, it's an important part of measuring the impact the livestock have on the environment. You have Isho Arakawa, he's just not looking pleased at all. It's like, Rakugo is a long-standing traditional art form, but more importantly, it's popular culture. You should be trying to get people to laugh. Times change, but if we keep repeating the same stories from centuries ago, our generation isn't going to care one bit. I'm taking the old traditions. And you see him just pulling out like a vinyl disc with Tenshiki. And he's got like one of those little DJ music setups. It's like, and remixing them to suit the ear of the modern audience. This is the Rakugo styling of Karashi Neramiya. Man, like, being a Rakugo kind of DJ is an interesting concept. We'll talk about that at the end. It's like, thank you very much. And Kaisei is like, that was quite the original performance. Master Isho, what did you think? And the old man's like, to be perfectly honest with you, didn't make me laugh. I suppose I'm not the target audience for this sort of thing. As evidence of that, you clearly had a more enthusiastic audience response than anyone else today. How well can you take the shared legacy of Rakugo and make it your own? The ability to wield your own creativity is in many ways the lifeblood of the Rakugoka. The story you performed today was highly suggestive in an amusing way. I'm eager to see what your future holds. It's like, wow, that was crazy, man. Isho Arakawa said he's eager to see what your future holds. You've got insane talent, Karashi. It's like, shut up. Don't take that lip service seriously. You're embarrassing yourself. Why would I get all excited over that when he also said it wasn't funny? I don't know, man. You look like you're smiling to me. You see he does have a grin on his face. He's like, huh? And he kicks him like, shut up and die. It's like, ow. It's like, but I think I've made my point clear. As he's passing by Akane, he goes, if you're just rehashing a classic without a creative angle, you can't possibly beat me. And you see Koguma going, this might be a tough hurdle for Akane to clear. It's like, was Neramiya's performance just that good? It's like, in terms of skill, he's not much different from the other students. But the way he adapts classic Rakugo makes up for his lack of training. You might say he's the exact opposite of Akane when she's doing a straight telling of a classic with extreme skill. It seems like today's audience prefers the curveball over the classic. It's like, and I didn't think he was going to praise that adaptation. It's the exact sort of thing he seems to hate. The performance order is definitely not in her favor, especially because the person performing before her is doing that story of all things. And you see Hikaru is the one going before her. So you have Hikaru Kuragi will perform the story known as... Alright, that's a hell of a cliffhanger to end up on a week, but thank God I'm not doing this weekly. So I think I liked this chapter because I think it addressed one of the elephants in the room, for lack of a better word, because again, you kind of mentioned with Isho, like, our Rakugo is kind of like a fading art form. And I think you can place at least part of that blame on, or justification for it, on the fact that, a lot of the stories that they read, that they perform are all classic old series, right? From different time periods where, the culture, the humor and stuff would be different from what, modern day audiences would find funny or entertaining. So it does bring up a valid point of like, shouldn't the art style and performance, while remaining true to its roots about what it stands for, what it's trying to do, shouldn't it also be adapting to, the modern era, to, the audience's changing like desires, demands, needs, all that kind of stuff. So it's interesting that we're finally getting like some Rakugo that are kind of trying to push the boundaries, trying to reinvent, what Rakugo can be and what it can mean as ways to kind of, draw in different audiences, but also as a way to kind of cement their own style and also kind of be, the leaders for the next generation. So in that regard, I think this chapter is interesting. I still don't think Karashi's a super compelling character or rival. Is kind of like, I like the idea of what he represents and what he's trying to do, but I really feel like he's an impactful character thus far. But hopefully we'll see if that actually kind of changes as it goes on, as we like learn a little bit more about him, and he gets a little bit more screen time. I did, I did love Isha Arakawa's though like politically correct response, where he's kind of just like, oh, I don't want to be a dick because like you clearly the audience enjoyed it, like he's a dinosaur in this world, for a lack of a better word. So of course he can't be like too much of a dick about like the new generation trying something different. But I like from just the way you can see him reacting, the way he's phrased, you can feel like there's a little bit of contempt in there for him being like, oh, you have to rely on cheap tricks like this to be able to, try to resonate with the audience. Is like, oh, you're not a true Rakugoka. Kind of like the undercurrent I feel like is definitely there. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with that. But I like how he did say the quiet part kind of out loud with Akane, where he's like, you have to make your mark on, something, especially a story as well known as Jukumu. You kind of have to make your own mark with that. And you have to make it stand out, or else, you're not going to really get far in this career. So again, it'll be interesting to see what Akane is going to do with that, or what Akane is going to do with that story. I'm also curious what Hikaru's chosen for her performances. It feels, I don't know if the performance knew ahead of time which slot they would get, and if Hikaru deliberately picked a story to kind of try to undercut Akane based on their interaction, or if it's a coincidence. But I'm curious what her story is going to be and how, like, what her style is going to be. So that'll be interesting. But looking forward to the next couple of chapters. I think after like a little bit of a lull at the start, I think the pacing is definitely starting to pick up a little bit now. So yeah, let's see where it goes from here. So as always, thank you all for joining me. I hope you enjoyed these recent spate of videos. As I mentioned at the start, please do like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. How pushing those buttons really does help me boost these videos on the algorithm and help me get to that magical subscriber number. Till next time, this is Ash. I will talk to you all later.